Alright guys, welcome to another beer review. Going over once again to Northern Monk, another entry into their patrons project, and this is number 24.06, part of the Tom Newell series, Let It Flow, and this was brewed in collaboration with Third Moon and the legends that are NEWELL, and it's an Imperial Stout clocking in at 11% ABV. And it's dry hopped with Sabro. What did I have recently? I had that Vocation stout that's in the supermarkets, and that was a stout with Sabro, and I think Sabro works really well in a stout. So very intrigued by this. Picked this up from Northern Monk bar in Manchester, and to tell you what, fantastic artwork. Apologies about like the lights, I think my lens must be a little bit smudged. But anyway, beautiful artwork there. Let's open it up and give it a bit of a read. So, Third Moon Brewing started as two friends and beer nerds obsessed with seeking out the best beers in the world. We took their excitement we had as beer fans We took that excitement we had as beer fans and turned it into a small brewery dedicated to quality, innovation, and keeping the fun in beer. We opened in May 2020 in Milton, Ontario, Canada, with a focus on brewing the modern beer styles we love to drink, share, and seek out. By the way, hope you're enjoying Tom J. Newell's artwork there in all its full glory. And of course, NEWELL. Starting out at home brewing project back in 2005, NEWELL permanently established in 2010, working as a gypsy brewery, landing in on other breweries, spare capacity for the following decade. In 2019, we took over the former food factory in the western part of Zealand, Denmark, where we have set up a full-blown, especially designed brewery and craft beverage hub. NEWELL is the name of the place. NEWELL City is the name of the place. I'm not doing a very good job at reading, am I, today? And Tom J. Newell is an artist, illustrator, record collector, and turntable tinkerer. His intricate hand-drawn artworks are inspired by nature and mysticism of musical subcultures, and are created using traditional pen on paper methods of magic. Let It Flow is the 6th in the Patrons Project Totem series. God, my arms are hurting lifting this up. That's how weak I am as a man. Which continue to stack above. Yeah, I'm not going to carry on. The Let It Flow playlist is hosted by Illo Radio and is available to listen on their website. There is a little bit more, and I do usually spend a lot of time reading it, but probably won't even pick that up on camera. But anybody who's ever mentioned on these Patrons Project beers, no matter how big or small their contribution, will be listed in the description. So for the next illusion, we're presenting you with this, a rich and viscous Imperial Stout full of Mount Rushmore, full of the Mount Rushmore of pastry stout adjuncts. Chocolates, both milk and dark, somewhere in the region of 80% cacao, bitter, fruity roasted coffee beans, juicy maraschino cherry, kind of when cherries are in stouts, steeped in heady liqueur, shavings of flaked coconut toasted just to a point where the sugars catch, and a drizzle of honey. Expect more of those things, except none of those things are really there. Aha, they tricked me. This cocktail of indulgence is actually the product of 3 elements: water, grain, and hops. This liquid pastry counter, this dessert trolley in a can, the vat of excess is shockingly almost in line with the Reinheitsgebot purity law. Simpson's DRC and Munich malt bring cheek swilling fruitiness. Carafa special and pale chocolate for, you guessed it, chocolate and intense coffee, plus biscuit and gambinous honey. Don't know if that's, well, honey malt. Fuck off, Peter, you're doing a terrible job. For spectacular sweetness, plus Sabro signature coconut note. Fucking hell, I don't know why my arms are aching just holding up a can of beer. Brand appropriate glassware. Got Uniqlo X Peter Saville. So not brand appropriate merchandise. But hey ho, it is what it is. And I think people have already turned off by now, so you know what? Who cares? And I tell you what, folks, not a bad looking beer for a Monday night. Yeah, that's, just look how dark that head is. And tell you what, these fairy lights sure don't half come on camera weird. Could have structured that sentence a lot better. 3 fingers worth, almost a knobhead paw's worth of a nice milky chocolate, compact, bubbly, frothy head. And the beer pretty much, especially in this lighting, looking at the camera, is pretty much jet black, and I've used pretty much twice in the same sentence because I'm pretty much an illiterate knobhead. And yeah, I thought this backdrop would just add something a little bit more interesting. We've got an irreversible poster, we've got some Keith Haring artwork, and then we've got Enter the Void artwork. So my little French corner, and look, there's a door handle. But it's just not turned out like I wanted to be honest. So I'm giving up YouTube. Don't think there'd be too many people upset if I did. So it looks really good. Let's see what we get on the nose. Just oozing full of chocolate straight away. Chocolate, licorice. A little bit of like Tunnock's wafer biscuit. Dip your nose in for good luck. I'm getting a slight hint of Sabro coming through, but it's got a lot of things to compete with, to be honest. Yeah, it smells really good, that actually. Let me just centre myself. You know that effort is always at a minimum when I do these beer reviews. Yeah, the Sabro is coming out a little bit more. And there is a honey-like sweetness shining through as well. Smells very good, no booziness at all. So let's just give it a taste. Cheers, folks. Oh God, yeah. Intake is absolutely glorious. You get all of that lovely bowl mouthfeel, but it doesn't half take you on a journey, this beer. Alcohol is just masked ridiculously though. The subtlest of warming as it's going down. Excuse me. Big roasty malts. There's even a bit of like a smokiness, like a smoky licorice sort of character. Hoppy bitterness on the back end, which is very nice. As you breathe in as you drink, you sort of get like the effect of honey, but you're not really tasting too much honey-like sweetness on the actual flavour itself. But loads of bitter chocolate. Loads and loads of bitter chocolate. Almost getting that a little bit of savoury licorice, almost like salted licorice, with a bit of a hint of like one of those, you know, like black currant flavoured licorice tubes or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like laces and stuff. Bitterness builds up on the back end. Not really getting too much like coconut flavour. You'd probably only say, oh yeah, there is, because you know Sabro's been used, but aside from the hoppy bitterness you get, you're not really getting too much of that Sabro flavour. Just enough, just to give it a little bit of an intriguing edge. It's sort of like an Imperial export stout. But it works remarkably well. It really, really does. Northern Monk, they make great beers no matter what the style. Let's be honest. But their Imperial stouts, my God, some absolutely mega Imperial stouts. I'm gutted that I've missed out on the that final vortex, although I'm sure by the time I get paid in a few days, there may be a few cans still about, and I'm probably going to pick up a couple. But you know, I've gushed and gushed and gushed about why I love specifically the Patrons Project. It's just because it brings so many different people together. I mean, you've got the artists, you've got like, they're even like giving a shout out to the playlist that's created. You know, you've got the breweries that are involved. You definitely taste the NEWELL in this. That sort of like Scandi influence, because again, when you think of Imperial stouts, NEWELL are just, you know, up there with the likes of Mikkeller and things like that. Such a great brewing heritage in that part of the world. And I really need to go to Copenhagen because I've always wanted to go. And you know, we've got a Canadian brewery involved in this as well, Third Moon. Long overdue a trip to Canada to meet some of the Canadian beer tubers, go to some, you know, check out brews like Collective Arts and stuff like that. So, you know, you've got 3 breweries from 3 separate countries coming together to make this. You've got the artists, then you've got some words like illustrators, photographers, chefs, restaurants. I just love that side of things with the Patrons Project, and that's one of my biggest things that I love about like collab beers is, yeah, it's great when you've got like a few breweries coming together to make a beer, but when they incorporate other like industries, it's just fantastic. And thankfully, I don't think I've really had too many bad Patrons Project. I think the only one that I didn't really like was that Radler that they did a few years ago with a queer beer, just because I thought it was quite a bad attempt at a Radler. And what did I have? I had the Honest Burgers collab yesterday, which I think I was a bit more positive during the review than I was when I turned the camera off and I was drinking it, because it was just like, it wasn't like a refreshing, satisfying beer. Interesting, which I really appreciate, but so, you know, with the sheer amount of new releases from brewery to brewery, they're not always going to be winners. So, you know, I don't even think that's like a point to bring up really, because every brewer's going to bring out a boring or a bad beer. Do you know what I mean? With the output and that sort of stuff. But no, this is fantastic. It really, really is. It's not hopped enough to be like a black IPA, Cascadian, dark ale, hoppy stout sort of thing. It is really fitting in line with what you expect from an export style stout, but obviously amped up in terms of its ABV. And I'm actually glad that the Sabro isn't as in your face. As much as I adore the Sabro hop, I think they've utilised it brilliantly. And to me, it just shows you how bombastic and subtle a hop like Sabro can be. And another beer that, as I mentioned earlier, the Vocation Knockout Stout. Slightly lower ABV, again, brewed with Sabro. Lends itself really nicely to an Imperial Stout and a stout in general. And I've broke the cardinal rule of the channel and comparing this beer to another brewery's beer. They're both Yorkshire based. Do you know what I mean? So there's not going to be too much rivalry there. And that's what I like about the industry as well. You know, obviously you're competing because you've got to sell a product. But it's not like we're going to completely knock out all of the competition. Because I think collaboration is like the key part to this industry. And I think so many breweries do it well, but Northern Monk, especially with the Patrons Project and some of their other initiatives, they just hammer down that fact to me and they do it brilliantly. And, you know, you've got NEWELL, Northern Monk, both make great imperial stouts, coming together, getting that Canadian twist. And yeah, absolutely fantastic. So that was Let It Flow, laid back imperial stout. Does exactly what it says on the can. And speaking of which, once again, fantastic. The lighting on this video is not doing this beer any justice. It really, really isn't. It's a terribly lit and framed beer review, so I do apologise about that. But the label's gorgeous. And I think I've had a few beers from the Tom J. Newell series. I always like keeping the Patrons Project labels, and then maybe they will don my wall in a frame. Who knows? But how pretentious did I sound then? I do sometimes come across unintentionally like an Alan Partridge style reviewer, but that's just I'm corny and cheesy, and I'm at least mentally 20 years older than I actually am physically, although a lot of people would say the opposite about how immature I am. But it's just, you know, no one's perfect. You know, we can't all be, you know, fucking Mads Mikkelsen. Do you know what I mean? Or some other beautiful, perfect people. I mean, we can't all be Mads Mikkelsen. We can't all be Alexa Chung. So just stick with what you've got. Anyway, that's my inspirational message for the day. My name's Peter. Pronouns are him, he, and cunt. Because most people who like to broadcast the pronouns, 9 times out of 10 are cunts, let's be honest. Probably offended like 90% of the overly sensitive brewing industry there, but I'd have probably not helped by making a comment like that, but who cares? Live and let live. And live it laid back like this stout. Lovely stuff. More I'm drinking it, maybe more of that Sabro's coming out a little bit, but I'm really not getting like a massive coconut flavour. It's almost like when you've got the desiccated coconut sprinkled on top like a chocolate treat or something like that. It's not a prominent flavour, it's there. But I think the Sabro hop is giving it a little bit more of a bitterness on the back end as opposed to a flavour. Anyway, if you've tried it, let me know your thoughts, opinions down below. And if I've alienated you, do apologise. I'll buy you a drink, even though I'll probably be too socially awkward to approach you. But yeah, go check out Northern Monk. Go check out Third Moon. Go check out NEWELL. Go check out Tom J. Newell. And go check out anybody else that's even got the smallest of shout outs on this label. And just one more time, beautiful stuff indeed. Bye bye.